already live?
Then I said, yep, we're live.
Okay, we're live. Time for the introduction. Hello, my name is Blendor. Welcome to Spletne, Urice, Maribor. This time we're going to host the stream in English. Why? Because we have international audience. One of them is a Peruvian living in Slovenia. The other one is a Slovenian living on the Peru street in Gran Canaria. That's an island, Spanish island. So yeah, for everybody who's tuning in for the first time, Spletne Urice is basically a bi-weekly event. We get together in person. Due to coronavirus, we're doing this over the internet. We talk about internet technology. We gossip a lot and we drink beer. So this is for the formal introduction. Now our co-host Matea will, introduce people properly, and I should stop talking right now.
Oh my God, I knew this is coming. Okay, so my name is Matea. I'm Blendor's co-host, as you can see. Yeah, today's guests are very interesting. You might know some of them or both of them. I plan to make a very short introduction because I might not know both of them. I know Niko, for example, from his campaigns, as you might as well, from, I think it was something to do with the bicycles, right, Niko? You can explain everything by yourself later, so I won't make any bad jokes or bad stories out of it. And Jose is a very, very interesting person. Jose is an entrepreneur, he's an innovator, and he's also a mentor, coach, and I'll put the line and you can write your word on it. So he's everything. I think he describes himself as a jack of all trades, kind of a. That's how I read it in Slovene. But above all, he's a very nice person. He loves Slovenia because he decided to live in Prekmurje. So anyone deciding to live in Prekmurje is a personal hero of mine because I really like Prekmurje. Okay, people living there are very hard and resilient and very good people. So if they accepted you, you must be a very good person. Niko, you should move there too.
All right. We have space here, Niko. You're welcome.
Niko, on the other hand, is again entrepreneur, innovator himself, maybe in a bit different space. He enjoys, I think, preparing, creating creative campaigns on how to get funds out of people who believe in ideas that are maybe not even a thing yet, right? And he knows how to talk to people, how to make them believe into something that only, let's say, people who organize a campaign believe into, for at least until some point when they give their money to the campaign. Okay, I won't take more of your time, so maybe Blendor, if you have a question, first questions for one of our guests.
Today we're going to talk about communities. So we know a lot of different types of communities. I think that community building, community management are some of the buzzwords that are popping up in our internet feeds all of the time. Maybe if you just gave a simple introduction and what is it that you do with communities? Maybe if we start with Niko.
Okay. Yeah. So, I did a few Kickstarter campaigns myself. I helped now more than 80 successful Kickstarter campaigns. So yeah, Kickstarter is crowdfunding, and crowdfunding equals to a community, right? So basically, you have to get a lot of people that believe in you, believe in your project or in your vision, whatever you're trying to do, and then basically try to engage them. And eventually, the final goal is to support you or at least share your project forward so that more people will come and find about your project and your vision and support it. So that's where I get closest to the communities. On the other side, I'm also a co-founder of Hashmark. Hashmark is a creative communication company for blockchain and tech projects. So blockchain is a very interesting thing because, in my opinion, it's the core is also, if you go out of the technology, it's also community, and it's basically, it's all about working together and trusting each other or not trusting each other, because we can trust to blockchain technology. So that's why you can build the communities around it. So yeah.
Okay. Jose is approaching the communities from a bit of a different angle. You're known as the founder of the co-working space Aurora in Prekmorje. You're also one of the pioneers of co-working in the whole region. So maybe if Jose can expand a bit on it, how did you start with co-working and later projects?
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Matea and Blender, for the introductions. Matea, very nice and kind words. Thank you so much. Well, Aurora Co-working started as a dream. I got influenced by an amazing co-working space in Vienna. It's the Impact Hub Vienna. And when I entered to that place for first time, I felt like, oh my God, this is the place where I belong. But Vienna is 2.5 hours driving from Murska Sobota, so I decided to make my own co-working space. It was a hard thing to do at the beginning. I couldn't find a place where to have it. And then luck crossed the street, and it was the NLB Bank offering a space for a free rent. And I got the opportunity, and I was selected. So more than 5 years ago, Aurora Co-working was born. So I didn't start the co-working space thinking on building a community. I was thinking on just opening the opportunity for Murska Sobota to identify the word entrepreneurship, right? So I wanted to know, where are the entrepreneurs here? And throughout the years, what I found was that there are not many persons that call themselves entrepreneurs, and that having a co-working space in such a small region was extremely hard. But throughout the years, some changes started happening along the process of implementing this co-working space. And I was surprised a couple of years ago when the group of people, the members of Aurora Co-working, activated, and they transformed from members or persons that go to the co-working space or a group of persons into a community. So they decided to take charge and ownership, right? They decided to take responsibility, and that's where I am right now. I could explain more in detail whenever you want, and that's how I got into communities. Yep. You have a question, right?
Yeah. Now it's very interesting because how do you actually start a community? Like you have an idea, and then you just, I don't know, what is the catalyst? What is the thing that kickstarts a community, to say so? Is it that you just go around and you say, hey, I've got this new thing, or you buy a place and you open up a co-working, or what was in your experience that pivotal moment, that where you started to realize that this is now growing and this is now getting some kind of a form, people are rallying behind the idea?
In one word, I would say empowerment. Okay, now to explain what that means. I was ready to close the co-working space a few years ago, and I went to talk with the members, and I said to them, I think it's time to close. I'm tired. I have to take care of the place. You are not taking care of the place. So you assume that your monthly fee covers everything. And that means that I'm here to clean the toilets, to clean the space, to maintain everything. And you know what? I have enough of this stuff. But then during that meeting, some transformation happened because they decided that I was not going to close the co-working space. Right? And that day we came up with the idea that everybody is going to take certain responsibility. And actually the way I was charging for the membership also changed, because one of the problems that we had was in the summer holidays, everybody leaves. So nobody pays, and I have to cover the fixed expenses anyway. So the members decided that even when they go on holidays, they are going to pay. But what we are going to do is we're going to distribute the expenses according to the bills that we have every month. So instead of having a fixed amount of money, we are going to have a variable fee according to what we spend. And not only that was amazing to me, right? But the members started inviting other people. And we duplicate the number of members in just a few months. Something that I couldn't make before with any effort that I tried to have. So the members of the co-working felt empowered, because they had the decision in their hands. They took responsibility and they own it. Now they own it, right?
Yeah. And you also align the motivations, and that's where actually with Kickstarter, that's interesting, right? And blockchain and ICOs, STOs, and so on, where in Kickstarter, people, that number one why people will support Kickstarter is because of they believe in mission, right? Whatever you're trying to do, the story that you're doing, and that's the most powerful one, and that's why people support it. Second is the team that is behind this project, and the third one, really far away, third one is actually a product, right? But it's the mission. And why people are also supporting crowdfunding campaigns, Kickstarter campaigns, is because they want to be on a journey with you, right? They want to learn, the steps that you're going to take it, because it's a creative project, like from the prototype to mass production, shipping, branding, promoting, all this. And what's another thing that is cool is like when you send out products around the world, and people get it, like they will be your promoters, right? So you'll get more orders or more bigger community from that place where you have backers. So they are your voice, right? So it's like kind of aligned motivation on that part. But like with ICOs and blockchain and all this, it's more like crowd investing. It's another aligned motivation, right? It's basically we're all in this together. If I have your coin or if I have your stock, I want you to do good so that the stock or the coin or the price of the crypto will go up, right? So this is the aligned motivation. So one thing that for me that was really interesting, the difference between crowdfunding and crowd investing was that when I was late of delivering products on Kickstarter, which 90% of projects are late, right? People were killing me. People were like saying like I moved to Mexico. Took the like basically we're not doing anything. They didn't care about the brand. They really cared about the journey and getting the product. Where on the ICOs and like crowd investing, what was interesting is that when we announced that we are delaying the launch of the product, or they were delaying, I thought like, okay, they're gonna kill us. But what happened was like everybody was cheering. It was like, yeah, smart decision. You're going to come out even with a better product, so because they're motivating, because the price of the token, it's everyone's motivation, right? Aligned motivation. So that was interesting.
Maybe if I can expand on that, Niko. With Jose's example, it's a bit different because you have the physical contact with people. You see people coming in and out the office. You are talking to them, classical water cooler chat. When you're doing things online,
Mhm.
it's a bit different. I mean, you can have these video calls like we are doing right now, but it's a bit different if you have a physical contact with somebody, or if you are just writing inside Telegram groups, or updating people on the Kickstarter page. What do you think is the most important thing when communicating over the internet with people? What do you think is that
Secret
thing?
sauce.
Secret sauce.
Mhm.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, is that the online people might be more active, right? They might participate more, might be more willing to talk, to ask, to share things, to do this. And but I think that to build a good relationship, like to build this last long relationship, I think personal contact is still important. So when I did my Kickstarter campaign for Fly electric bikes, and so we did it in November 2013, and then I realized, and we promised that we will be shipping in May 2014. I realized that we'll be late, and then as the online community, there's no filter, so it's very easy to get a lot of comments. What I realized is that I have to go around and basically go to the people and talk to them. And what I did, we had the prototype, we had everything ready, but of course the production was taking longer. So I knew that we'll start shipping in October, November. So what I did the world tour. So I went to New York, San Francisco, LA, and then 7 cities in Europe. So the ones where we had the most backers. And I went there physically by myself with 2 bikes. We posted online, and we said, this day, this time, at this corner, Niko will be there with 2 bikes. Come. And what was interesting is that like you could see sometimes people that were really killing me, or like really hating on the project, or really being vocal and like hard on me or and the project online. When they came in person, they were like teddy bears. It was like really nice. They were like talking, they were nice, and like because it was a physical contact, it was different. And what was great, of course, they were also telling me, you gotta do this, and they were tough on me and all of that, but in much nicer way, I would say. But what was great is that they got to meet me, they got to see the product in person, we got to spend some time together, and then this really built the relationship. So when I came back home to the office, and then we were communicating online, you could feel the bond, you could feel the different tone, and you could feel feel that. But yeah, with online, I would say much faster, much broader, much quicker. You can go and to the community and talk to them. But yeah, it's basically not so much relationship, right? Like this strong, lasting relationship.
Wow, amazing. I didn't know that you went actually around with your bikes and wait on the corners for them to come and see it. I mean, that's cool. It's like, if you ever played Age of Empires, those priests walking around like YOLO YOLO and turning the enemy troops into your allies, right? It's like that.
Yeah, I did 7 days, 7 cities in 7 days in Europe. So
you probably didn't bike from one city to the other, right?
No,
that would be crazy.
No. Yeah.
Cool. You mentioned one, I think, very, very important ingredient in all the communities, and that's relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can build relationships in many different ways, as you said, through email, through walking around, through getting yourself exposed, and be transparent whether they're good times or bad times, because sometimes I think people want to hide when shit hits the fan, right? And especially for, let's say, community leaders, might be tough to go out there and listen to all the crazy shit or all the hard words that people like to throw, especially online, because as you said, there's no filter, and you just have to click send and not watch the expression on someone's face, right? So you seem to be like master of online relationship, but Jose, did you I mean, did you encounter these difficult, let's say, conversations, or how did you maintain your relationship? You said that you saw this change from being passive participants or users of co-working space to empowered co-creators, co-users. So how did you handle like difficult talks? Did you just I don't know, confront them as you said, I don't want to, clean after you. What you're gonna do about it, or how did it roll? Because I see these kind of problems everywhere, where there's shared common space or like kitchen stuff like that. I mean, even at my workplace now, we have same issues everywhere.
Yeah, I think that good relationships are based on trust. And trust means accepting yourself and the others as they really are, or as you really are. So that's what I did. So if I feel pissed off, I express myself pissed off. I was clear on how I feel. And actually, that means for them that they start getting to know me, so they know what triggers me. They know which are my weaknesses. And that means they can establish a relationship. So my experience is that relationships require care and acceptance. So if you care, the people tends to trust more on you. Therefore, the relationships are solid. There are persons that I get in contact with that I never saw in my life, but that we are looking forward for the moment and when we are going to see each other live. And it happened in many cases, and it's absolutely wonderful because the relationship, the basic trust and the acceptance and the care was already present. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So go ahead.
Yeah. Um, I was just now checking. Every time we have streams, we also take questions from the YouTube stream. We take questions on Twitter and so on. And this thing popped into my head like, today we are living our life increasingly digital. So basically, the divide between the digital realm and the physical realm is basically blurring. We have Twitters, we have Slack groups, channels. Uh, how, if you want to create a sustainable community in the 21st century, how do you mash up the physical and the digital? Like, for example, Niko's work is predominantly digital, if I may say so. And Jose, your work is predominantly physical, working with people. Maybe if you can tell us, just how you combine the two, what are your thoughts about it?
I would agree very much with what Niko said. You need both. And I wouldn't like to live in a world where only digital is, right? So Niko mastered the his experience with Kickstarter by going with the bicycles to the different places, right? I mastered my own experience of communities by going to Vienna, going to different countries and see co-working spaces, talking with people. So, but now the coronavirus situation is lighting something new. I found that working with teams digitally is more efficient. For example, if I sit down with 5 persons in real life, taking notes or making a survey is pretty hard. But if I use multiple tools at the same time in a virtual meeting, I can send them a form for them to answer a survey. We can see the results immediately. So the way of capturing feedback is immediate and it works amazingly well. It's very tiring, it is very efficient. But the role of the one-to-one community building or relationship building uh, is less formal, is less work-oriented. At least in my experience, when I'm going to meet, even for business purposes, We get a coffee, maybe a cake, maybe a beer, and we talk, we check in, and we talk about what are we doing, how is life there, blah blah blah. So I would say they have different roles.
Yeah, yeah. If I continue on that thought, so two experiences I have. So one is Hashmark. So it's about 3 years old company now, and we are completely decentralized. We have no offices. We never had any offices. We have team literally around the world, and basically we are working virtual all the time. So and yeah, we mastered all these tools and Zooms and Hangouts and Slacks and everything. And it's yeah, it's actually very productive and also very life balancing. But what we do is like 2 3 times a year we get together, we go to some conferences, events, and we really like we spend a week, 2 weeks together, and we hang out and really bond. So and that's one experience that I saw that really works well. The other one is just the other day I spoke with my schoolmates from Harvard Business School. We did it. We did a PhD program for leadership development. There was 9 months long program in Harvard in Boston. But we actually, and this is now 4 years since we did it, and we are still like best friends. You know, we're still on WhatsApp. We're still talking like it was yesterday. And just like last week, we had a Zoom call with everyone, and we realized that actually we spent only 6 weeks in person together in that 9 months period, right? It was like 2 weeks, or actually 8 weeks, 2 weeks in Boston, and then most of it online. And again, 2 weeks in Boston and most of it online. But we are like best friends. We know each other, we know each other for the whole life, right? And yeah, we manage that. We make sure that once a year we go somewhere together for a few days, for a week, or we go to this Harvard Summit, and we just like hang out, we connect, and yeah, it's like basically for 8 weeks it took us to be best friends.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of friends and communities and tools, guys, if you're watching this, please ask some questions in the comments under the live stream. You can tweet us, you can call us. We might post Jarnej's number. Aha, kidding. Comments under YouTube stream will be just fine. Okay? But until you ask us something, we'll continue grilling Niko and Jose about communities. Okay, if I may, um, are your communities, let's say, more technical than any other communities? Because we know that social media, for example, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatnot, they're open or friendly or engaging for a lot of different users. But let's say for Kickstarter, for example, Niko, what's your experience with let's say profiles of people or backers that are there? Are they more techies or not? Are there any characteristics that make them, let's say, back more, something like that?
Yeah, yeah, good question. So, yeah, so actually it depends to what kind of project it is, of course, and where these backers coming from. Right, so I'll give you a story of FlyCly. So we did when we launched the Kickstarter campaign for FlyCly electric bike. We did it. It was a 40 days long campaign, and then the first week or so, we made a plan that we will first target tech communities. So like we went to TechCrunch and to Verge and things more techy stuff, right? So more of the tech people were coming to Kickstarter backing or asking us questions. And yeah, like it was tough questions, it was like really, really sometimes very, very high level of like, or like deep into like what kind of battery cells formation do we use and like what kind of screws are in the motor and things like that. It was really tough sometimes, especially for the community managers who are like more, they really had to understand ins and out of everything, right? But then the next 2 weeks we focused more on the lifestyle media, right? And at that time, more the questions were coming from in what color it comes, what size it comes, things like that, right? Where can I use it on the seaside or in the mountains, things like that. So yeah, really depends on where the community is coming from. And then from in the blockchain space, yeah, most of the time you would probably work with the communities will be actually very tech oriented or like developers and things like that. So also different channels that you have to use for that kind of communities. And that's over there. It's also the way you set up the channels, right? So what kind of groups and channels and topics you're talking about and all this. So really, when you have a community, you need to understand who's your target community, and then also if there are different kind of inside the community different target groups, you need to figure out, is this a channel where I'm communicating to all the same thing, or am I dividing different channels, right? So meaning, let's say, okay, on Twitter maybe it's like a general communication, on Discord it's very tech oriented communication and things like that. So when you're preparing what you're sharing and talking, then you also know which channels what you're talking about, right?
So if you're a newbie, how do you know all that? Do you ask around or just try it and see what happens?
Usually you just, I mean, from my experience, you go and first you need to check similar projects, right? And just figure it out what they're doing. Like you see, okay, why are they having this channel? And then you go into this channel and you see, oh, okay, they're talking about this. Then, so first you review what projects that are similar, that what they're doing. Then usually what I do is just talk to friends that are into things that I'm interested in, and they teach me, and then the best learning is actually doing, right? So of course you have to do mistakes, but then when you do mistake, you know that you're going to learn something new.
Absolutely. So it's learning within the community or communities itself themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jose, what about you? I guess you don't get questions like what colors are the chairs in the co-working space. So do we have a tough crowd to please?
No, but I like the connection between the IT or the technical part. So I'm trying to connect what am I observing in the communities that I work with that are social entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs in general, and technology. And what I'm watching is that many of them were ignoring parts of technology because for the field of action was not very necessary. So they concentrated on having a nice website, Facebook presence, emailing system, and basically that's it. But that is changing amazingly, right? So I've seen persons that are a bit older than me even, and they are getting for first time into technology, and now they are using, I don't know, Slack or Trello boards for organizing information. And I'm very surprised and very glad. So I was an IT person in the past. So connecting the two things is very important. And as a tool for empowering people, it is amazing because then as soon as they start learning to use more digital tools, they become empowered, to act and to take initiative. And that is what is happening in Aurora co-working. For example, the crisis, the virus crisis comes around, and we had to decide what are we going to do because we didn't know for how long it was going to be, what is going to happen with the membership fees. Is someone going to, maybe someone lost their business? Okay. What happened is that everybody remained. And one of these persons opened a Trello board to decide for all the members to say when are they going to the co-working. But the rule was that only one person can be at the co-working at the same time. So a person comes with an initiative, uses a technological tool, and take action. Well, the co-working space was not completely used all the time, but almost every day one person was using it at least for a few hours. So that's amazing, right?
Maybe one question here. How to say it? Maybe if I go with a metaphor. So communities in general do they have to go, develop as weeds, without any control, or should we keep them like bonsais, like trimming them? And how important is moderation in a physical, real world community and also the online community?
Um, may I?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So there are different words here that we should consider. One is a network, another is a community, and another is a smart network. Okay, those are three words that I use to make differences. So a network is basically a group of people connected because of one interest or one topic, right? In a community, that network decides to take action. So the persons start taking some initiative. And in a smart network, the persons that participate in the network or the community, right, are driven by the same vision. They want to make change. Okay, this smart network can be built with individuals or organizations. It doesn't matter. So when you ask about moderation, right? So do we always need a person to take charge of driving the freaking community? Well, my personal answer is that's the worst case scenario, or that's the beginning of your community. Someone takes responsibility, but then that person needs to start letting the responsibility go to empower the members that participate so that they become a community and eventually a smart network in the future. So we should not expect. There is a graphic. Let me. It is there's one guy called his last name is Keegan, and he wrote a book, and he has a graphic that explains the different stages of development of the human mind. Okay, there are three levels. One is a socialized mind. The second one is the self-authoring mind, and the third one is self-transforming mind. The socialized mind, so the first one, right, is the kind of mindset of a person of around 18 years old. Okay, is a team player, wants to be a team player, is a follower, so he or she admires a person, a leader, and follows, right? But the socialized mind also seeks direction, is looking to follow the instructions. Well, in the book, Keegan says that there are like 80% of the people currently in the socialized mind, no matter their age. So I think that any community manager has the responsibility of making those persons that are in the socialized mind area to move to the self-authoring and ideally to the self-transforming mind. So in the actually in the self-authoring mind, no one is waiting for instructions. Actually, everyone starts taking initiative. They are more self-confident. They are more empowered. And in the self-transforming mind, the person doesn't care anymore. The person is already wise. So he or she are going to do something because they want it, not because they have to. Right? So, and those three steps are very similar to the different levels of these three words that I used for describing communities, right? So the networks, the communities, and the smart networks. So that is very, very, very important. The majority of people that are working in co-working spaces, for example, that are managing co-working spaces, they always get frustrated because they say the people always need us to take initiative. Otherwise, they don't care, or otherwise they leave the space. We have to constantly motivate them, right? But as soon as they start getting more experience, instead of motivating them, they're inspiring them. So through inspiration, those participants, those members, take action. So that's my answer.
Okay. Nico, maybe if we can try just to put this into the digital realm. So, a lot of online communities, I don't know, let's say, for example, Facebook groups or maybe subreddits, people gather around a specific topic and they are there because they are interested in, I don't know, sports cars or anything like that. But even though these people have the same intention, share same interest, you still need moderators. What do you think about that? How can we get people from this socialized mind to self-altering mind in digital?
Hmm. Yeah, I think I mean what Jose said was amazing. I think that's really cool. And when he was saying this, I actually thought of Bitcoin. You know, so I think Bitcoin is going this way, these steps. Like it was Satoshi who basically, let's say, was in the beginning set it up, was moderating, putting it together, had some community around, and then eventually, you know, went away. And now basically the Bitcoin is community on its own, and it's growing and it's continuing. So this. So I think with the communities, again, first thing you have to ask yourself, what is the goal of the community and like why is it being created, right? Is it because the company wants to have a community, or is it because just people are interested in some topic and are meeting together and things like that? So of course, if it's a company, then you have kind of obligation that you're, it's your community, it's your brand, so you need to watch it, right? You need to take care of it that goes the right way. Where if it's free, that is basically no associations, just about around the topic. Yeah, then I think it's free. It's good to go. And I mean, I really like the internet because I mean the whole internet thing and thing because it's like the community and it's like you never know where it's going to go, right? So the story with the Watson and the IBM that they put it on the Twitter and said like teach it, it's AI teach it, and in 2 hours he was a racist and everything, I mean that's the that's also the fun part of the free communities, you see where I think we will always test the boundaries, so and I think it's fun, we should have things like that so we know where can we take things.
Yeah, so trolls and haters, they're all like, people in every community probably.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Based on what you both said, um, I can I can feel you because I was, let's say, part of a small community though. We call ourselves Code Cats. It was a group of, let's say, girls or network of girls who wanted to start coding. And there was a bunch of us who knew how to code and we were willing to share this knowledge with them, right? But my personal experience is that while we were having enough energy to share it with them, while we were the ones who were driving, let's say, the lessons and uh, scheduling meetings and being there for them, answering their questions, things were okay. But then at some point we were just tired, because as soon as we got all these people who wanted to learn how to code, who wanted to be part of the community, part of the group, part of the special cool kids, right? But as soon as we kind of encountered hard work or difficult situations or some, let's say, extra energy that needed to be put into some mundane task, then people started having less and less time or they drifted off. So, how do you make people go from one level to another level? How do you do that? I mean, I can imagine being like a company where you are a leader and you have to delegate at some point, right? If you want to, let's say, groom your next generation of leaders, you have to delegate at some point because being in charge of something probably gives you this kind of a feeling of power, right? Sometimes it's tough to give this power away, or you have a feeling that you can do this best because you have experience, because you know how to manage community, right? So how do you make this magic happen? How do you let go, and how do you just trust in people that they will do what is necessary for a community to live? Any of you?
Yeah. Yeah, I can go. So, I mean, yeah, with like I started with Žiga and Tilen Slovenia crowdfunding meetups. So basically, we have meetups once a week, where we basically everyone who is interested in crowdfunding can come. We meet and then meet whoever already did Kickstarter, and then we share. And yeah, it's basically it's going to be a lot of influx of people, but then yeah, whoever is interested in it, whoever has the motivation for it, will stay. I mean, we have 800 people in the group, but we didn't have 800 Kickstarter campaigns from Slovenia. So yeah, it's like out of 30 people that come to crowdfunding meetups, maybe 2 or 3 will then go forward with and do the Kickstarter campaign. But yeah, it's really, I guess that's the statistic, right? You just have to know that not everyone is they're interested, but maybe they're not willing to take action. The other example that I have, we have the case study about the Japanese company that the founder one day woke up, went on the stage in front of the company of I think 2,000 or 3,000 Japanese people, and said, "From tomorrow we will all speak English because we are going international." Right? So in Japanese they're not speaking well English, right? So the whole and he said in 1 year, I want all the meetings, all the emails, all the conversations at the cooler, at anywhere, everything, phone calls in English. And everybody was like, wow. I mean, they were really scared about it. And then, after 6 months, they realized it's not going really well, right? People are still not speaking English. So then they brought in all the advisors and everything. And basically what they did was they make the quadrants and they make it motivated, not motivated, able, capable, not capable, right? And then they interviewed all the employees and then just put them into the whichever quadrant they go for. And then of course they went for the one who are motivated and capable, were easy, right? And the hardest was not motivated and not capable. And those ones, they basically said, or we're going to have them leave, or work on them. But then they really focus on the other two: not capable and motivated, and not motivated and capable, right? And these two, the way they worked on it, it took time. It actually took them a year and a half to convince them and to make them to with different tactics. One is just giving them all the tools and the support to learn English, and to do. The other way was more of like being to have somebody to look up, or like to have like role models and things like that. And slowly, in a year and a half, they got it to that everybody spoke English.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine how tough it must have been for them. But how do you see this, let's say, apply to a community in terms of digital community? Can we learn a lesson out of this Japanese company?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, because there was, that's a company. That's like basically you kind of you're working with, you have motivation, online motivation. You kind of have a relationship that everyone has to do this. With the communities, as I said, more like what I experienced with crowdfunding, right? So I guess you have to know that it's going to be a percentage, not everyone that will be interested. And yeah, it's basically just just continue to do this and like figure it out. Maybe try to understand why are so many people dropping off. Maybe they are scared, so maybe next meeting we explain these things. Another thing was like maybe they didn't know a lot of people that would help them. That's why we start making meetings that people were meeting and connecting things. But yeah, that's
interesting that you say that. Yeah, because actually we noticed that with our group, because girls are usually more shy when it comes to attending meetups or especially coding events. So we wanted to provide them a safe environment where they can ask stupid questions and not be laughed at. So I can see the lesson there, actually. Yeah. So investigate what's going good and what's going bad, and then change the things that are not working. Right, Jose? What's your take on all this? I see you want to tell us something.
Of course. So the first thing is, if you see that your community is not working, it's not activating, you don't have to make it work or activate. It can die. And when you have the confidence of being able to see your initiative, for example, your coding group collapse, the members, feel that you are capable of doing that. Therefore, they step up if they care enough. If they don't care enough, there's no reason why you have to make the effort, right? So that's one reflection. The other thing is that, as I mentioned before, I was going to close Aurora Co-working, but persistence has an incredible effect. If you try different ways, you start finding solutions, and you start learning. You know, but that persistence would not work if you don't add diversity. So when you create a community that is connected to a topic, like for example, girls coding, maybe you're not adding enough diversity. And sometimes diversity is very important to balance out. So you need to have people that is more extroverts, some others that are more introverts, some of them that are more artistic, some of them that are more mathematical or scientific, whatever. So I think that consciously building diversity is important. And the other thing is purpose. So what is the purpose of your community? If your purpose is empowering women to code, that has to be the motive. So the members should believe that that is what they are looking for. Maybe they are looking for just learning to code. So if they want to learn to code, then there's no sense of only focusing on females, for example, right? Because there are boys that also would like to learn to code, for example, right? So purpose is essential in how you direct the effort of building the community. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Enough about me. Let's talk about you now.
Maybe just to jump in.
I didn't want to. Yeah.
Sorry, keep on.
Sorry, I didn't want to make this about me. Yeah, sorry, Jose. No, thank you for your insights. Very welcome. We didn't have only girls, but we wanted to have majority of them. So yeah, there were a lot of things that didn't work there. And yeah, I learned my lesson too. I have another question for you later, but now I would like to let Blendor ask a question.
Yeah, it's really interesting when we were talking about purpose and when we have mentioned the Japanese. I don't know why, but a lot of times when it comes to some successful management practices, to some extraordinary feats, I don't know, like rebuilding countries after tsunamis and so on, the Asians always do it. And I don't know why. And I think that it's right because of the purpose. Maybe when you are working with multicultural communities, do you think that uh, it's ingrained in some people, in some cultures, to embrace resilience, or that some of them have some predispositions in their behavior that enables, a community to thrive or anything like that? And because there are stereotypes about Slovenians. Slovenians don't like to expose themselves. They're more introverts than extroverts. I don't know, Jose, maybe if you can just give your thought about on that one.
Well, about Asia, Niko is the right person. But the last time that I talked actually with your community, and I talked about Slovenians, one guy almost killed me. My perspective in general, so let's not say about Slovenians, but in Europe in general, is we care about community, right? But number one is me, right? So I believe there is a predisposition, but we know when it's urgent enough so that we need to connect. I mean, when I was for first time in Poland a few months ago, and I learned all what happened after the Second World War and how they organized to rebuild the country, and that is something absolutely amazing and inspiring. So the capacity for connecting and doing things together is there. But on the surface, we are very superficial and we care about our interests. So I need to have the money, I need to have the business, I need to get the job, and we tend to stay there. A lot of us stay there, and it would be awesome if we could challenge ourselves to be more entrepreneurial and explore a bit more.
Yeah, I think it would be actually interesting to see the statistic of, because I agree what you said about Slovenians, that we are maybe more reserved in the physical or personal contact. But it will be actually great, really interesting to see statistic. Are we also reserved online? How much actually Slovenians are posting, commenting, liking things, engaging versus other countries, other communities, cultures. We actually cool to see. I feel like we're probably the same, everyone. So this and the story about Asia. Yeah, I lived in Hong Kong, Singapore, and Bangkok for 2 years, about a year ago. Um, and one story I learned that I really was struck me was, when Mongolians were attacking China, and like they were constantly attacking, and then their I always forgot, not king. What do they have?
It was the Khan.
The Khan. Yeah, the Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Khan. So their Khan, like basically, like was trying to figure out like how do I stop them to attack me. So of course they build a wall and all this, but then basically what we realize is that they are hungry, they are poor, they don't know how to grow food, how to make things. So what he did was he collected all the information, all the knowledge that they have in China. He like everything from astronomy, mathematics, how to make rice, how to grow different things, wrote everything and sent all the smart people and the professors there to teach them. And what happened? They didn't attack them anymore. And then when he realized what happened was like he commissioned over 1,000 different boats to put all the knowledge that they have on each boat, and told them go around the world and give this knowledge to everyone. The only thing I want back is the world of the map, the map world, right? So with the boat, they were drawing the map. So the story apparently is that one of these boats also ended in Venice, and one of the merchants got some of those documents, and the merchant's assistant was Da Vinci. And then the Da Vinci got all the, not the knowledge, but the inspiration for the things that he then created, right? So in my opinion, it's like knowledge, you have to share the knowledge. You have to, because it's not that it's going to be bad for you. It's actually is going to be beneficial for you, because if everyone has the knowledge, we are all elevated, and it's good for everyone.
This was actually the next question that I wanted to touch about, knowledge sharing. Knowledge sharing, it seems like it's common for active, for thriving communities, not only for their expansion, but also for their longevity. If the community is active in knowledge sharing, from my perspective, I think that these are the communities that last the longest. Maybe if you can just, explain how do you work on knowledge sharing inside of your communities? Do you do like webinars from the digital viewpoint? Gatherings? You have book clubs. What have you found that works the best with people?
Hmm? Is that for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, basically, literally, it goes down to each and every post, to everything and on. Right? Is basically what are we communicating? What are we giving something of value? Right? So even my personal post, whenever I post on social media, I'm thinking like, okay, am I giving some information? I'm adding some value to it. So that's like basically, and then whatever you're doing, you just think of it. What values, what value are you giving? So that whoever is on the other side listening, or like following that, it's interesting, and it's continuing to be interesting.
And Nico, one stupid question. So if you share your, let's say, meal, lunch, do you write a recipe beneath it so it's beneficial for followers? I'm kidding.
Yeah, yeah. Or maybe I would write, that I don't know, I'm using this app to track what meals I'm eating, so I'm having more complete nutrition, and eventually I'll be more healthy, whatever, like something
Cool.
to maybe will help somebody, you know maybe you find about this app and use it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was a joke, but now I got the
Yeah,
information.
yeah, cool.
Jose, I think you're on.
Okay, so one of the first things that come to my mind is that the communities are not necessarily destined to exist forever. So we should not be measuring them for how long do they last, right? I had one community that was very active. We had chapters in multiple countries, and it was fear and fail. And the chapters at some point were dysfunctional, and they just went away. But that doesn't mean that the movement itself died. It just transformed. So it is important to know how your community transforms in time. So it can be your community dying, but it can that can begin the birth of something else. The other thing about knowledge sharing, this is everything that I do. So actually, the co-working members probably hate me when I go to the co-working, because the only thing that I do is to sit down with a coffee and telling them everything that I learned the past week, and they want to work, right? And and then when there is an opportunity to speak at some event or something like that, I'm almost always available. I think knowledge sharing is essential, but uh, when talking about smart networks, I learned that there are three levels, okay, that are important to consider. And knowledge is the most basic one. The second, so if you think of circles, you have a small circle that is knowledge, then you have a bigger circle that is understanding, and then you have a bigger one that is wisdom. So when we share knowledge, so we are basically telling the what, okay? So step by step kind of things that you need to do to publish your website or to edit your profile photo, right? The how is the understanding. So once you did it for yourself, so you have the knowledge and you understand it, you can explain it in a better way. But the third level, the wisdom one, is a more complicated one, because it means that you need to understand who you are. So who you are as an individual or who you are as a community. What's your vision? What defines who you are? And I think that the ultimate knowledge, between brackets, sharing, is when we are capable of sharing wisdom. And that is the moment when your a network or your community becomes a smart network.
Mhm. Yeah, and like, and going back to co-working spaces, I think that basically network and getting and sharing the knowledge, wisdom, it's like the core is the core. So it's really like you can have the most fanciest place in the world, but if you don't have anyone there with the wisdom, knowledge, to share, it's at the end of the day, it's just going to be a desk and a stool.
Yeah, I totally agree. And in the crisis moments, when I was asking my members, why the hell are you here? We are just a bunch of persons. What is important for you here? And one of the answers that I will always remember is because we can go for Malitza together. So it's not the service, it's not the space, it's the connection. And that connection comes when you establish this relationship, as we said before. And there's a relationship is about sharing knowledge and wisdom.
Thank you very much for sharing this. Looking at the watch, I would say we'll have to wrap up slowly, but I have one more question for both of you. And kind of summarizes, let's say, things that we discussed. So relationship, care, sharing wisdom, three levels of communities, from network to community to active network. So what, in your opinion, is a successful community or network, right? We said it might not be the age or how long the community exists, because some communities might die. Is it the number of members? Is it how active the members are? Or is it the purpose the community or network serves? And once this purpose is gone, community can go away too. So what's your take on, so what community is actually successful? Because sometimes we got measured by numbers, right? So how big is your community? 500 members, 1,000 members, 2 million followers, God damn it, I don't know what, right? So, or is this community that existed for, I don't know, 2 months and had 2 million followers or members or whatever we call them, more successful than Spletne Urice that's here with us for 10 years now? So what would be the criteria to measure our success? Maybe Jose, you can go.
Well, yeah, every smart network has one purpose, and that purpose is creating change. So we should be measured by the change we make. So ideally, we can make global change, like large scale change. Uh, Ideally, we make it sustainable, right? So that this change continues, even if the community transformed or disappeared. So I think that's the number one. So for example, in the case of Aurora Co-working, right, in average, for the past few years, we have been 10 to 12 members. So what are we talking about? Why is that small number is relevant at all? Why? How come that we got awards as best co-working space in Slovenia? It's just incredible. Well, it is because this is a small group of people that is identified with a vision. They want to make change. Have we arrived to the destination? No. We are still in the process of figuring out what kind of change we want to do. And it looks like we are agreeing that what we want to create is a change in our society, so the Prekmuria will become a bit more entrepreneurial. But okay, so it's a matter of patience. As you know, with Spletne Urice, it's an amazing example of building community, of persistence, right, and creating change. You're inspiring a lot of people, and so I think that's what the only thing that matters, right? So that would be my answer.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's what's the result, what's the end result of it. How many how many people learned about startups, how many people learned about possibilities that can be done from Aurora co-working space, for example. This not exactly on this topic, but one thing that is really interesting with digital communities then today, that we have all these tools that pretty much you can reach to anyone in the world, right? And there's a concept of 100 fans, or it used to be 1,000 fans concept, where you today, in order to do something that like your passion economy, that you're doing something, you need 1,000 fans who are willing to pay $100 or euros a year, and pretty much you can live normally or happily and do your passion work. But you have to do something, add some value to it. And I guess today we're already saying that you can actually find only 100 people that are willing to pay $1,000 a year, and it's the same thing. But with all the tools and all the connections and the internet that we have now, this is possible. It's like 7 billion people, so you only need to find 100 people that basically value what you're doing, or they're interested in what you're talking, and you can make a change. You can get the result that we're all looking for.
I think that it's about time that we actually tell our secret why Spletne Urice is active for so long. It's only because at the end of every season, Jernej brings us burek, and this is basically why we keep going for the last 10 years, just because of burek, nothing else, not inspiring people, not creating new opportunities, but just burek.
Yeah, I make crosses till the burek day. Yeah, cross your calendar days until burek day.
All right.
No, but thank you both for your inputs and your answers. I mean, I believe in the same thing as you do. So it's our strength or our same vision, or with this urge to change things. And we believe that even changing 1% at a time is sometimes enough, right? We don't have to change 100%. It's enough to change 1% every day, and then we're good. So with these thoughts, should we wrap it up? Yeah, go make a change. Go make a community. Participate. Empower yourself. Do stuff. Do creative stuff. Do good stuff. Make a change. Okay, Blender, please stop me.
Okay, the time has come. Thank you very much to our guests, José Antonio Morales, Niko Klajnšek. Your time is valuable. Your input is valuable. And we would like to tell to all of the people watching the stream, go now, like us on Facebook, like us on Twitter, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, just interact with us. I mean, I know it's Corona time, but still, you can send us a message. You can send us a funny picture. We will laugh. We won't judge. And stay tuned for the next stream, all of the information on our social media channels. We love you. Stay safe. And I need the beer right now.
Also, follow our guests, please. They also might have websites and Instagrams and Twitters. Show some appreciation and love for our guests that are willing to spend an hour of their lives in Spletne Urice. Cool, support us. So, till next time.
Okay, we'll see. Bye-bye.
Thank you.